The submarine S-56 occupies a special place in the history of the Soviet fleet. During the Great Patriotic War, it sank many enemy ships, survived hundreds of depth charge attacks, and went down in history as a symbol of heroism. Today, we will tell you about the legendary submarine S-56. Before the war, the USSR built various types of diesel-electric submarines. Among them, the most modern were the S-type submarines, developed using German technology. The S-56 began to be built in Leningrad in 1936. Later, it was dismantled, delivered by rail to Vladivostok, where it was assembled and introduced into the Pacific Fleet in 1941. Despite the German influence, the submarine was equipped with Soviet equipment: 2 diesel engines, radio communications, a gyro compass, a hydrophone, and weapons. It had 6 torpedo tubes, a diving depth of 100 meters, and a surface speed of up to 20 knots. The crew of 45 people was housed in 7 sealed compartments, and the experienced Lieutenant Commander Grigory Shchedrin became the commander. With the outbreak of war in 1941, the USSR found itself in a difficult situation. In the autumn of 1942, it was decided to transfer 6 submarines from the Far East to the north, including the EDU S-56. However, it was impossible to pass through the Northern Sea route due to the difficult ice conditions and the lack of available icebreakers. Therefore, the route ran through the Pacific Ocean, the Panama Canal, and the Atlantic, with calls at Allied ports, the USA, Canada, and Great Britain. On October 6, 1942, the S-56 left Vladivostok. Despite the secrecy of the operation, the submarine spent most of the journey on the surface, as its old batteries did not allow it to stay underwater for long. The route ran through dangerous zones of World War II, the Japanese threat in the Pacific Ocean, and the German threat in the Atlantic. One of the 6 submarines, the L-16, was sunk by a torpedo. Officially, it was the Japanese submarine I-25, but there is also a version about a possible mistake by the American allies. The remaining 5 boats continued their journey. In the tropics, the sailors suffered from the heat. The temperature reached 55 degrees Celsius. Many lost consciousness, and the crew members developed conjunctivitis. In the Atlantic, the S-56 got into a powerful storm. The boat was rocked to 45 degrees, people were thrown out of their bunks, and the cook was scalded by boiling water. The storm damage was serious. The ballast tanks were damaged, the windows in the wheelhouse were broken, the plating was torn off, and the ammunition was partially flooded. All of this was repaired in Allied ports. The S-56 was also attacked by torpedoes twice. One torpedo hit the hull but did not explode, and the other was evaded. There were other difficulties: engine failure, getting stuck underwater between the masts of a sunken ship. In the end, the boat traveled more than 16,000 nautical miles across 2 oceans and 9 seas. The journey took more than 5 months. In March 1943, S-56 arrived in Polyarny and joined the Northern Fleet. There, it participated in protecting sea routes and coastlines and attacking German ships. Its first mission was the covert delivery of scouts to the rear. Then, it searched for and attacked enemy transports. The first battle was unsuccessful due to errors in preparation and distance. The convoy left. Later, the submarine itself was attacked. 6 depth charges were dropped by an enemy aircraft. A few days later, it was possible to attack a German transport. The torpedoes reached the target. The ship sank. The counterattack dropped bombs, but the enemy did not determine the exact location of the S-56. Later, the boat attacked the convoy again. After being spotted by a patrol ship, it submerged, slipped under the transport, struck, and successfully escaped. There were other successful exits. In one of the battles, 2 ships were sunk at once. Dangers lurked at every turn. The submarine repeatedly dodged torpedoes and mines, sometimes passing them very close. The return to the base was accompanied by ceremonial meetings, repairs, and rest, after which new voyages began. The most difficult episode was when the S-56 was surrounded by 7 enemy ships that had been dropping depth charges for more than a day. In order to hide, the commander ordered the air regeneration system to be turned off. The sailors lost consciousness from suffocation, but this gave a result. The submarine was no longer heard, and the enemy lost it. During the war, S-56 carried out 14 successful attacks, sank 10, and damaged 4 ships. In terms of the number of targets sunk, she became the most successful submarine of the USSR. She was awarded the Order of the Red Banner, the crew received hundreds of awards, and the commander was awarded the title Hero of the Soviet Union. In 1954, S-56 returned to Vladivostok via the Northern Sea Route, becoming the first Soviet submarine to circumnavigate the globe. She was later transferred to a training unit where emergency situations were practiced. When the time came for decommissioning, the boat was preserved as a museum. The hull was delivered to Vladivostok's Korabelnaya embankment and installed on a pedestal. The museum's grand opening took place on May 9, 1975. The original equipment compartments, command post, torpedo compartment, and cabins have been preserved inside. Today, the S-56 is one of the symbols of Vladivostok. Every day, the naval flag is raised on it as a tribute to the heroic crew, its commander, and all who defended the motherland during the war.